Welcome to Crime Stoppers. I'm your host, Chip Brown. Heartland Crime Stoppers is a community-based program designed to help law enforcement solve crimes by providing a way for the public to phone in tips anonymously and receive cash rewards of up to $5,000 for information that leads to an arrest, the recovery of stolen property, or the recovery of illegal drugs. Heartland Crime Stoppers is funded through the state of Florida Office of the Attorney General Crime Stoppers Trust Fund and through donations from the community. Citizens and local businesses make Crime Stoppers work. The Lake Hamilton Police Department has 7 full-time sworn officers, 1 reserve officer, and 1 civilian employee dedicated to keeping the community safe. The Lake Hamilton Police Department has patrol officers to serve the very needs of the community. Joining us in the studio is Chief Michael Teague of the Lake Hamilton Police Department. Chief, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Now, it's really interesting. We've had you on the show before, but I know that you are just having some tremendous growth and some new projects going on in the city.
Yes, the Ridge area seem to have expanded growth right now. We call it more or less the jewel of the Ridge.
As well it should be, yes.
The amount of vacant land that's in the area is unbelievable. So we're starting to get a lot of developers coming in to purchase up a lot of the properties around the community. Heading out towards the Ponciana area, and some of the areas are starting to annex into the city for future subdivisions.
Now, one of the things that y'all have been planning for a while, and I think you're getting close to being finished about your new facility.
Yes, it looks like we'll be moving in right after the first of the year. They're putting final touches on everything right now. It's a modern facility, takes the town into the 21st century with some of the things that are available within the facility. It's been a long time coming. It's going to be something the community is going to be very proud of. We'll be scheduling some open houses around the first of the year for the community to look at these before we actually move into them.
Yeah, and that's got to be so exciting for you as the chief to be part of that process, to develop it and plan it and have your input, and just so exciting.
Yeah, it's been a headache as well too. So it's a lot of the tedious details of making sure the thing, working with the subcontractors, working with the contractor, making sure all the items are where they need to be between all the contractors putting things in place.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it was all the planning that's gone into it. There'll be times later on when you think, I wish I had put something here and moved it around. But again, from the old facility has served you well. Because that was basically an old schoolhouse, was it not?
That is correct.
And having been in there, so I know that it's really going to be a big boost for the community and for the officers to have that new facility. So.
Yeah, and also makes it very user-friendly for the officers. Everything is right there for them to take care of it. Very community-oriented as well too. One of the items that we did receive was a $18,000 landscaping grant that our code enforcement officer was able to acquire. That's going to help make it Florida friendly, number one. It's going to make it like it's a park setting for around the outside of the building for the community.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I would see that would attract people to the area is the care and thought and that small town feel.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a start. It's a key starting point for the core area of the town. Same difference here is that the core area, the community wants to keep it the way it's always been, and then the newer areas will be quite differently looking than compared to the old areas.
Now, I know that also you had talked to me earlier about perhaps getting a new K-9 or getting the first K-9 unit for Lake Hamilton.
Yes, we're in the process of fundraising right now. Our future K-9 officer has been advocaatly working with Floridinos, has been a big support of this here, that's helped pushing this along. Raising the funds right now. They're selling T-shirts, they're doing raffles, they're taking donations, acquiring everything that we need to get so we'll be ready to, after the first year, have the first K-9 unit for the town.
That's so exciting, and people don't realize how expensive getting, because I guess the dogs are trained, have the basic commands when you purchase them. Is that correct?
It depends. Some of them are green, as they call them. We're looking at wants a little bit of training in it. The handler that I've got chosen's got about at least 10 years of experience with K-9. plus my prior canine experience I had. So it's still retrofitting vehicles, getting equipment that you need, easily $30,000-$35,000 to get up and running.
Absolutely, and then of course the time to acclimate the dog to the handler, and more importantly the handler to the dog, to know what the dog is telling the handler in many cases. And I've seen it so many times over the years that that bond is so important, because if you don't know what the dog is trying to tell you, it's very possible that you're going to miss something, you know. And I think sometimes the officers, when somebody says, yeah, the guy ran that way, and the dog is tracking that way, you're trying to pull the dog one way instead of saying, the dog saying, Daddy, trust me, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a game with the dog too, so that makes it a lot of interesting as well too. So we're excited about that, and you know, it's another advancement for the community.
Yeah, and such a valuable tool, you know, for your citizens there, you know, in Lake Hamilton, to be able to have that, and it's just such a good, you know, PR tool, because the kids and the people just really love to watch them and be around them.
Yeah, and a lot of community activities that can be used in, you know, like you said, with the children and the community, gives them that added asset that they have.
Now, I do know that one of the things you're going through, and I think it's coming up, hopefully as the completion of your new facility, is your accreditation, and how important that is.
Yeah, we've started a preliminary accreditation already. As soon as we move into the new facility, we're going to go full blast with it. Hope within 18 months to have that accreditation done. So that'll be the first time that agency's ever been accredited. It was one of my goals when I was hired about 5 years ago, was to make sure that they were accredited, and the building was step one, the equipment was step two, the training was step three, and now the final phase is to put that last piece of the puzzle together.
Yeah, so many people don't think it's such a big deal to be accredited and don't understand the process, but like you said, that's first time up is 18 months of really hard work, and having, like you say, the equipment, having the policies in place, having them updated, and having them address things that, you know, so many people that, you know, we didn't think about back in the day. But and it's very time consuming, and I think the headaches that you're getting rid of with the new building, I think you may have one or two clusters headaches after this.
Yeah, and like I said, at that point, it moves it on. It makes the department more professional. It's a nice buy-in with the officers, knowing that they're supported with policies, general orders that's there for them, as well as the community input on those as well.
I think one of the other important things of the accreditation, it guarantees that the level of service that you're going to provide in Lake Hamilton will be on the same standards as it does in Winter Haven, or in Orlando, or in Jacksonville, or in Tampa. That, you know, you think of these big communities, but you have to meet the same standards, have to have the same policies and the same protections, you know, for the citizens, and protecting their rights, protecting the officers' rights, the officers' safety, the citizens' safety. I mean, it's not just one thing; it covers a gamut of just very, very sensitive and very important topics.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to take all the officers, you know, the administrators, as well as the community, to help push this through and make sure this happens. And like I said, it's an ultimate goal, and hopefully 18 months we'll be through that.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with that, and I'm sure that you'll be very pleased when the assessors leave and give their final report. I did notice also back in October, you know, Lake Hamilton took part of the Operation Take Back. And tell us a little bit about what that involved.
We started several years ago with a joint venture with the DEA, gathering up prescription pills and items that are no longer used in homes, that instead of them being flushed down the toilets, they can be turned over. Then we can take all these and turn them in and have them disposed of properly, so they don't end up in our landfills, they're not end up in our water supply. The community has gone through, more and more individuals are starting to bring those in. Family members pass away, they're able to bring their stuff and drop that stuff off. And then twice a year we have a big gathering day.
Yeah. Now, I was somewhat surprised when I read the reports on that, and your department had picked up 87 pounds of drug that had been turned in.
Yeah, it was remarkable this time around, the amount of stuff that was turned in. We had individuals who brought in, large amounts from their houses that had been packed up for years. One of the things we do is we do have a drop safe that's there that all year long people can bring stuff in to drop in there. So that accumulates over the time period as well. But yeah, we had a remarkable amount of showing that day of people dropping things off.
Yeah, I know that when my parents passed, the pills that they were on, and people don't think when they flush it down the toilet or just toss it out in the backyard, that there's dangers getting into the water system, getting into the ground itself, contaminations, and sometimes they fall into the wrong hands, if you don't get rid of them. And what a convenience it is to know that, instead of waiting for once or twice a year, that they can go down to your department and dispose of them in the proper way.
Yeah, and with the new building, it'll be right in the lobby, so they'll be able to come in and just drop their stuff. They don't have to report anything. They don't, they can peel their names off the packages and just throw the pills in there.
Now, I know that COVID has impacted everything that we deal with, and has certainly impacted the way that you do your law enforcement.
Yeah, with it being a small community, with the town itself, approximately having 16 employees total, almost 8 are on my side of the building. And right now we're all working out of a modular building, kind of close containment. We've had opportunities where we've had to send people home for a couple weeks. We've had people quarantined, and keeping the public away from that area has been very difficult, while still trying to provide level of service that the community expects. But one of the items we wanted to give back to is we do an annual trunk or treat event, and this year, I hate the term the new norm. I don't like it at all. I think it makes it very difficult, but we wanted something for the kids, the community. So we decided to do ours as a drive-through trunk or treat event. Mm-hmm. We still got over 200 kids that came through on the event. They get to enjoy themselves, and we kept the social distancing in place, and everybody had a good time out of it, and it was a very safe and successful event.
And it's always so nice for the community to see officers in a positive light and interacting, as opposed to coming to their house when they've been burglarized or maybe had a domestic violence situation or some kind of problem. And it's such a nice feeling for the officers and the community too.
Yeah, it makes the officers feel successful, with everything that over the last year that's been going on, that's been in the news. It makes the job difficult as it is, but knowing that the community still supports them, they still there for their community. The kids enjoy doing their stuff, and wonderful seeing all the little children that were dressed up like police officers that were coming through the event, which we know that they still care.
Yeah. Well, Chief, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come in today, and we're looking forward to get some follow-up reports out of Lake Hamilton.
Anytime.
For more information on Lake Hamilton Police Department, you can check them out on the web at www.townoflakehamilton.com/police. Crime Stoppers provides a way for local law enforcement to receive information on crimes while keeping the people providing that information anonymous. These efforts increase tips, which in turn solve more crime and identify criminals in our community. Here's a look at some of our most recent cases.
On November 16th, at approximately 8:41 p.m., officers were dispatched to the area of Lincoln Avenue and D Street in reference to a disturbance involving a shooting. Once on scene, officers located the shooting victim, an adult male, behind 211 D Street. Officers learned that there had been a disturbance in the alleyway between D Street and E Street prior to the shooting. The victim of the shooting sustained a single gunshot wound to his leg and was airlifted from the scene for medical treatment. The victim is in stable condition at the hospital. The victim was interviewed by detectives. Detectives learned that the victim went to see what was going on with a disturbance when he was shot. The victim identified the shooter as Cedric Gardner, a 23-year-old Lake Wales resident. On November 4th at approximately 9:09 p.m., an unknown suspect is observed entering the Walmart and stealing over $600 worth of merchandise. The suspect then flees the store once confronted. The suspect is described as a black male wearing camo shorts, a camo Tampa Bay Rays hat, and a black hoodie and black high socks and slippers. If you have any information, please contact Corporal Castle, 863-965-5555, extension 298. The Haines City Police Department is looking for the public's help in obtaining information that will help lead to the arrest of a shooter or shooters who killed a Haines City man and injured 3 others before 9 p.m. on Thursday, November 19th. Oscar Lee Hendricks Jr., 36, was fatally shot and 3 others were hospitalized with gunshot wounds during a drive-by where more than 30 shots were fired in the area of North 15th Street in Haines City. 3 vehicles were shot and numerous other people, including children, were put in harm's way. Let me introduce you to Justin Turner, a white male with a birth date of February 8, 1988. He's wanted for several felony warrants.
If you have any information on any of the cases you've just seen or any information on an unsolved crime, please contact Heartland Crime Stoppers and leave an anonymous tip. The toll-free tip line is 1-800-226-TIPS. That's 8477. You can also leave an anonymous web tip by going to www.heartlandcrimestoppers.com and click on the Give a Tip tab, or by going to www.p3tips.com. Don't forget, you can download our free P3 Tips app on your smart device. Whichever way you choose to leave a tip, you will remain 100% anonymous. If your tip results in an arrest, the recovery of stolen property, or the recovery of illegal drugs, you could be eligible for a cash reward of up to $3,000.